Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We have some critical information to get to you guys as soon as possible. There is a very real chance here that you could be looking at some decisive Fed action coming over the next 24 to 48 hours after the Fed, FDIC, and the Treasury have implemented measures to try to calm investors and uninsured depositors that they will get their money, that they are not going to take on losses, yet still First Republic, Western Alliance, other second and third tier banks, even companies like Charles Schwab are dropping 20 to 80% today. Let's get into this information, guys. We're going to give you an update on AMC and all of that as well, but I think this is a little bit more pressing, even heading into CPI tomorrow, as well as the AMC March 14th vote. This is really the wild card, and the first thing that I want to start with is this, guys. You're probably not going to believe me, so I'm just going to pull it up for you. Today on the economic calendar, you see at 10:30 a.m. for today, for Monday, March 13th, a closed-door Fed emergency meeting. Now, these are the kind of emergency meetings that lead to drastic changes in Fed policy. Now, why this is very interesting is because, one, it looks like the backstop they announced yesterday is not enough and it is not working. Number two, these issues might be a lot worse than we expect. And number three, the inflation report comes out tomorrow. Now, Fed Jerome Powell already knows what this inflation report is going to come out as. So if this inflation report is weaker than expectations, there could be a little bit more leeway to potentially cut rates. Now, why this is so interesting is because take a look at this. This is yesterday's video going over the Fed, the trading economics calendar, right? All the important events. Look at this. Yesterday, we'll blow this up. This is the video that was literally put out yesterday. Look at this. Monday, March 13th, 2023. It's not on here. This came up today. This is brand new on the calendar. This has never happened before, or at least in recent history, right? COVID 2020, this was the last time this closed-door Fed emergency meeting has come up on the economic calendar, and even to be highlighted in red like this, which red means a big volatility catalyst, it just poof, overnight, it's here. They're having this very big meeting, which I think is very interesting. Now, does this mean 100% with 100% certainty a Fed rate cut is coming? No, but I do think it is a very real possibility given what we are seeing with financial conditions right now, financial instability. We might only be seeing the tip, of the iceberg. Some of these regulators, the Treasury, the Fed, they might see a much deeper problem that is going on. And after all, the measures that the Fed announced yesterday, they're not enough. Banks are still going under. You're going to see, if we don't get a Fed rate cut or we don't see these measures actually work, you're going to see SVB, done. Signature Bank, done. Western Alliance, done. First Republic Bank, done. And what follows that? I mean, you can only start to imagine Goldman Sachs, an investment bank, Morgan Stanley, some of these other banks that are not so much connected to just average Joe paychecks, right? Like Citi, Bank of America, JP Morgan. I doubt they're going to feel the pressure of this nearly to the same extent as other banks because you deposit your money there on a weekly basis. It's not like you're going to, cancel your deposit, right, from your workplace. That's not going to happen. But other banks, such as even Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, that are not so much dependent on week-by-week consumer deposits, those could also be in trouble very, very shortly. Charles Schwab down 20% today. Guys, this is a major problem in our markets right now, in our financial system. And this could lead to an emergency rate cut as early as after hours today. Now, this is not financial advice. I don't have a golden ball or a crystal ball. I don't talk to Fed Jerome Powell ever. I've never talked to the guy. So I don't know if this is 100% going to happen. This is just very telling that something is about to happen. Now, if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, we did make a very risky, very high risk, high reward kind of trade, playing a potential Fed rate cut coming here in after hours or over the next week or two. In all reality, if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen today in after hours. That it could pay out big. You could lose all of your money. If you guys want access to that trade, link down below in the description of this video to get access to it. Now that the important stuff is really out of the way, other things you guys should really know is CPI comes out tomorrow. Now, CPI is going to be a back burner event compared to this Fed closed door meeting, as well as just the overall bank situation. If CPI does, for whatever reason, go up in a big way or come down in a big way, sure, that could add to volatility, but I don't think it's nearly as important as your largest banks in America going bankrupt. It does not get worse than that. You're looking at a potential Great Recession all over again. The 2023 Great Recession very well could have already just started. So you do have that coming tomorrow. That's really going to be it as far as economic data that could move the markets. Keep in mind, March 14th is tomorrow. It is on Tuesday. That is the vote with AMC. AMC's numbers still looking primed for a short squeeze here. I would not be confused on that. This is still going to be a major event for AMC, but at the same time, we're not going to have any clarification. We're not going to have any definitive answers tomorrow. We're going to get a yes or a no vote, right? A result to that vote coming tomorrow, but nothing is actually going to happen at least until April 27th, until the court does come together and find out if AMC did essentially rig the vote. And it looks very much so that they did. So I think ultimately it's going to be a bullish catalyst. Now, if the markets deteriorate or if the markets rally, right, AMC will be affected by that. Now, I do want to say that I know it's going to be a big question, so I want to answer it here in this video. Would a Fed rate cut be a bullish or bearish thing for the markets? Well, initial reactions off of this might be bullish. They might just be bullish, just due to the nature of a rate cut. Now, the bigger question is for investors, and this will overtake any bullishness that potentially comes off of a rate cut, is why is the Fed cutting rates? Why 3 days ago were we pricing in a 50 basis point rate hike in March, and 3 days later, before the next Fed meeting, potentially, right, this may or may not happen, the Fed's cutting rates? That makes absolutely no sense. On the other hand, it might mean inflation is going to go higher, but on the other hand, banks going bankrupt is the biggest deflationary factor that you could get. So maybe these banks going bankrupt is enough deflation for the Fed to cut rates now and not have to wait. That's going to be the trade-off here. But ultimately, what it always comes down to is, why is the Fed cutting rates? That's never going to be a good thing. It does show the markets, the economy, are not in such a good place. And compared to what we're seeing today, even the market's up like 1%. The S&P and the NASDAQ, it's moving a lot, guys. So keep in mind, by the time you guys see this video, it might be in a much different place. Markets are up pretty sizably today so far. Now, does that continue? Who ultimately knows? It's going to depend on what happens with the Fed, what is announced, and we're probably going to get news in after hours regardless, because we really haven't got all too much here today, besides Biden saying some of these guys should be fired, saying that investors will not be saved, but FDIC will essentially help all deposits from people at banks. But screw the investors. Investors don't matter. Wall Street, screw them. So, pretty interesting. Now, and that's just my take, guys. I want to reiterate, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know if this is going to happen. If it does happen, I think there's like a 3% to 5% chance it does happen. And that's where the potential of some of these trades we made today could really pay out big, since there is such a low probability of it actually happening. But again, this is weird. You've never seen a Fed meeting like this, a closed door meeting, pop up in red volatility, right? Just for early markets, right? It's only 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They were like on it today. You've never seen this pop up on the economic calendar, within a day. You've never seen this, no matter what. Remember back in, what was it, like April or May of 2022 when people were talking about potentially the Fed cutting rates because you were getting just very bad economic data? Well, that never popped up on the economic calendar. Never happened. So I do think it is warranted to talk about extensively like we did here in this video. Now, enough of that. I could ramble on all freaking day in regards to Fed policy and what is going to come next, but I do want to give you guys a quick AMC update as well. AMC is still on the threshold securities list. We'll talk about the FTDs in just 1 second. The live short interest of free float sitting at 23.67%, 122.21 million shares that are currently sold short. Cost of our average 255.74%, cost of our max 286.49%, and cost of our minimum of 197.2%. You do have about 200,000 shares that are currently available to be traded. Cost to borrow numbers at 101.7% from Interactive Brokers currently. So numbers looking very much indicative of getting a bullish reaction after tomorrow especially, but really by the end of this week. And what you're seeing with these bank runs and banks ultimately likely going bankrupt if something does not happen. Even Charles Schwab in danger of going bankrupt here. Imagine that one. That would be a bad situation. Well, you're going to see the riskiest loans recalled very, very shortly here. So I do think 4-share recalls are on the near-term horizon with AMC. Now, as far as what the markets are currently pricing in for that March 22nd meeting, you are getting a 26.2% probability of a Fed pause as of right now. So the markets are expecting looser Fed policy going ahead, but still nobody is pricing in a Fed rate cut by the next meeting, but that potentially could be warranted. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the FTD numbers that we are currently seeing today, you got about 1.8 million FTDs that did come due. Tomorrow, 2.5 million FTDs. Wednesday, 3.4 million FTDs. On Thursday, 3.9 million FTDs. And on Friday, 6.8 million FTDs that will come due. So there you have that information. S&P falling off from its highs, up 0.34% at the time of recording this video. NASDAQ, the real outperformer here, up 1.25% at the time of recording this video. AMC up about 0.5%. Guys, I want you to pay attention to these words that I'm about to say. It does not matter what happens with AMC right here and right now. We know that tomorrow is going to be a big event for AMC, likely going to be a bullish one, but we need new information from regulators, from the Fed, from the Treasury. What's going to happen next with these bank runs, with these bank failures? Does this lead to Fed policy changing? Does it lead to a Fed rate cut potentially as soon as after hours today or tomorrow morning? Does it lead to a Fed pause? What is going to happen with CPI tomorrow, and how does all of that connect with each other to get us somewhere, right? Do banks continue to fail, or does something change and everything's okay? That's really the big question as of right now. That is what is going to move AMC from here on out for the next at least day or two. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Like I said, if you guys want access to some of the trades that were put on today and future trades going ahead, link down below in the description of this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.